Welcome to Florida Mint on Florida Man with Greg, Wayne, Josh, and Cameron, the podcast where Floridians discuss the legends, lore, and crazy stories that always seem to take place in Florida. If you are tuning in for the first time,
hello.
We are the Florida Man on Florida Man podcast. I'm Wayne.
I'm Cameron.
He forgot.
Josh.
That's our voices, so you can kind of piece us together when we're speaking. What our show is, we do Florida Man headlines right off the top, and then we do kind of a story segment where it's get to know us, get to know the host. Yeah. Sometimes we do quizzes, just fun game stuff, and then at the end, it's history. It's Florida history, all legends, business. Lore. Yeah, all business, man.
Sometimes we do impersonations of the other ones, so it may be tricky. Hey, I'm Wayne.
I'm Josh.
That's not what I sound
I knew that was going to
And that's not what Josh sounds like.
I do sound like
Shame on both of you. If you are listening on the podcast, this is episode 90, and we just did a little special thing for the live streamers.
Yeah, it was so special.
Our Patreon
Probably
live
the
streamers.
most special thing I've ever seen.
Probably for me more than anybody.
No, it was good to witness it.
Cameron knows that he loves apples more than anything.
Yeah.
More than his own child.
Whoa.
And if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know he's an apple addict. So what we did, we blindfolded him, kind of, and we had three different strains of apples in front of him. He had to take a bite and guess the strain.
We also blindfold the apples.
There are varieties, strains. I don't know why you're using that word.
He went 3 for 3.
The Guinness.
Oh, 3 for 3, easy.
He went 3 for 3.
Actually,
he
corrected
mispronounced.
It was
we had something misspelled.
It would be safe to call him an apple pervert.
What?
Yeah, that's what we call him in text and group.
He loves
text.
apples so much.
Yeah. Hey, AP, are you here?
Right.
Yeah.
Present.
I think he's going to settle this by giving us some amazing headlines, though.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, headlines.
All right. Been waiting all week.
So we had a man
Sweet.
in Tampa
Come on.
Better.
needed a place to spend a few nights.
Okay.
Okay.
Amen. Yep.
So what did he do? He booked a luxury suite,
Right.
and stayed there for 2 weeks.
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on. Sounds like a life.
He invited himself.
Okay.
That's how you do.
Into an empty stadium.
Stadium.
in St. Pete.
No. What?
Basically, he broke into a stadium in St. Pete and spent 2 weeks in one of the luxury suites in the stadium.
Absolutely.
Without anybody knowing it.
I think
amazing.
that's you skirt the rules. If you break in,
I think
and
so.
you're longer than a week, then it's yours.
You win. Yeah.
So he somehow found his way into this stadium, and it's where
Did he say I blacked out and I
just woke up in this. It's where I think Rowdies play in
soccer team.
Tampa.
Yeah,
Soccer team in
Nerd.
Tampa, and so, and so a cleaning crew. They're nobody's as far as fans or people have been in the stadium, but there's been workers that are in there throughout this whole COVID thing.
Right.
Well, a cleaning crew, I guess, just hadn't been in there. Nobody had been in this suite. And somebody happens to go in just to check on it and all this kind of stuff.
Because suites don't naturally get dirty.
No,
right?
I mean, they should take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like I'm hearing the plot of Dunson Checks In. Is that what this is?
I'm not familiar.
What a great
Okay.
film.
But anyways, somebody walked in there and noticed that there were some blankets, shaving cream, and a razor. And it's like, okay, those are probably a telltale sign that somebody's been in here.
He's
You
taking
don't
care of
leave
himself.
anything that's going to leave DNA.
Yeah,
no
he's
razors.
Right.
He's making sure he looks sharp. I mean,
Right.
razor. So, anyways, they the cleaning crew called police.
Oh.
They came and started checking it out. Well, it turns out this Florida man named Daniel had spent 2 weeks there.
Yes, please.
Not only had he been in this suite by himself,
Cool.
He had also checked out the merchandise store.
That's what I'm talking about. Why
come
wouldn't you?
on.
Repping the Rowdies. I mean, come on. I mean, that's free,
Was he? When
free
they found him?
publicity.
Was he wearing Rowdies gear?
He was
had the
wearing
Rowdies gear on.
head to toe,
Soccer
decked out.
cleats.
And
That's
so-
what they play, right?
He's like, I'm a huge fan.
He also got into the concession stand. It was just eating
Nachos
and
cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I mean, the guy was like living it up.
What did he play on the field?
That's what I want to know. Is like at
Honestly,
nighttime, was
I
he
kinda
out
wonder
there
if he did.
taking shots, man?
You had
Yeah.
to.
It's like Rudy. You remember that movie?
Oh,
Never
great
heard of
films.
it.
Daniel,
What?
if you're listening, bro, good on you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Living your life, dude.
I could see him kicking it in the goal and going, go.
Yeah. Yeah,
From
and-
0.
Yeah, send us a message. That's if you're out of jail at this point.
Yes.
Because he did get arrested
Oh, well, that's
for burglary and resisting arrest.
What was the
So-
burglar?
Okay.
Oh, because the concession stand stuff and
Yeah,
the.
and I mean, it
Oh,
could have
the
been
general
trespassing.
walking into the stadium. I
I
think.
guess it's true.
I think all of it, yeah. Anyway, so our next story is about a Florida man.
Okay.
Man,
that
that
was-
was such a good one. Though.
That
was
you
really
like that
good.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think resisting arrest because he had cleats on,
Right.
and he could get away faster. in his
Well,
cleats.
I think that they should maybe invite him to be like the new Rowdy's
He should be-
spokesperson.
He should be the mascot.
He's got
Honestly,
the
that's a-
merchandise.
That's a great PR.
Rowdy Randy, Rowdy,
Yeah.
whatever his name is.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Nah,
Daniel.
that doesn't really work. He's gonna have to
Just
change his
Danny.
name.
Danny.
Nah,
Rowdy Danny.
Rowdy Randy.
Okay, Randy. Anyways, our next story is about a Florida man that was upset that the bar had closed.
Okay.
Yes.
So he came up with a clever way, so he thought, to get another drink. So
Okay.
Talk to Danny.
this guy went up to this bar called the Earl's Hideaway Lounge
Love it.
in Sebastian. It was about 1:30 in the morning, and he went in and asked for a drink.
Yep.
Bartender said, well, we're closed. We closed at 1 o'clock, which why is the door still unlocked
Here
30
he
minutes
goes.
later?
He's poking holes
Right.
in your story.
I mean, come
Earl's
on.
Hideaway.
And so Lance, his name's Lance, which come on.
Oh, not a good
I don't,
name.
yeah, not
Yeah.
a strong
Besides
start.
Lance Bass, we're big fans.
Yeah, big fans. And so he ended up saying, well, you have to give me a drink. I'm the health inspector.
Oh.
And if you don't give
I'm
me a
just
drink, I'm just
checking.
going to shut you down.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
And
rude.
so,
I think you say, okay, here's
Yeah.
your drink. health
well,
inspector.
the bartender was like, okay, what? You're here at
Surprise
1:30
inspection.
as
Right.
a health inspector.
What's more of a surprise inspection?
1:30 in the morning.
Amen.
And so Lance started getting pretty upset when the bartender wouldn't give him a drink.
Oh,
And he was saying that he said that his father was the chief of police at Palm Bay Police Department
Of course.
and was saying, yeah, I'm going to call him
Yep.
and that whole police department's going to come down here and put you out of business.
if you don't give me a drink, I'll
Okay.
call my dad.
Exactly.
I've said that.
Oh, man. So anyways, the Sebastian police came.
Oh,
His
no,
dad,
they put him out of business.
No, different police department.
okay.
Yeah, different police department. They came and was trying to talk Lance down. And anyways, he went outside, was
Yeah.
yelling at everybody, including the police. They couldn't get him calmed down, so they ended up having to trespass him and arrest him.
Beat him.
But man,
Gotta
I-
give him a
I have a
beating.
feeling that they're going to hear from his dad about this. for
Probably.
sure.
This is not over.
And I want to clarify, we don't dislike Lances, plural.
No.
If your name is Lance, we love you.
Yep.
If you're this Lance, that was poor choice.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
Bad
For sure.
behavior.
But they should have given him a water. Maybe he was just super thirsty, but
Yeah, and here's the thing. So we said that he claimed that his dad was the police chief, but he also said that his dad owned that bar at one point.
well,
And so-
entrepreneurs are entrepreneurial.
So like he
Yeah.
had 3 solid reasons. He's a health inspector.
Yep.
Yeah.
His dad owns this bar.
My dad's a cop.
Yeah, if you turn
and
that
my dad's a
spigot
cop.
right there, I guarantee you beer comes out. How do I know that?
My dad's a cop.
My dad's a cop, and he used to own this place.
That doesn't close down at 1. It doesn't just stop doing that
No,
at 1
it
o'clock.
still works.
Right.
Yeah, it still works.
So Lance is in trouble.
Yeah, I think that he's a solid contender for Shame Corner for sure.
I think so.
I mean, there's no point in like arguing and harassing a bartender at 1:30 in the morning. They just want to go home.
There's no point in arguing or harassing, like, you know,
Anyone?
Most
any
things
any
ever.
people, but especially in the service industry, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, just be nice, dude.
Yeah, tip your service people well.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. What
Be
we
nice
always
to
say.
'em.
Tip your
Tip your
service people.
anybody.
Amen.
All right, our next one, Florida
Come on.
man. This I just sum up this story real simple.
Do it.
This Florida man was confronted by cops for some erratic behavior. And I think that he was fighting with somebody. And so the cops came up to him, just wanted to talk to him and like, okay, what's going on here? And trying to get all this, trying to get his story. Well, he was being really strange and like wouldn't take his hand out of his pocket and just was like touching something in his
Yikers
pocket.
Island.
Gross.
And so that kind of like
Island.
alerted police, like you got something in there
Yeah,
that
that
you're not
pocket
supposed to
doesn't
have.
exist.
Yeah.
Amen.
That magic pocket. So, anyways, they patted him down and found 4 pouches in his little
Wow.
4 plastic bags in his pockets, 2 of which had marijuana and
Okay.
MDMA.
Okay.
And the
that
other-
explains the, yeah.
Yeah, and the other 2 had
You got to make sure they're there and they didn't fall out.
Right.
the
At
other
all
2
times.
had residues of an unknown substance. So he,
Like from outer space?
well,
Yeah.
well, maybe
NASA's on this
like
case.
some moon dust or
Yeah.
something.
Whoa, that sounds delicious.
So anyways, they don't know what was in that pouch, and if that whatever was in that pouch was in his system at this point.
Could have been angel dust from my summer camp.
It might be.
Yeah.
But he said, listen, I don't know anything about that.
Yep.
I was just walking down the street and somebody gave me these pants to wear, and so I just put them on.
Thank you.
And so he
Honestly.
literally said, "These aren't even my pants. Somebody just
These
gave
aren't
these
even
to
my
me."
pants.
What a good
The
Samaritan.
excuse
He's
that
like,
nobody thought
I
they'd
didn't think
ever
to look
hear.
in the pockets.
I think back in the day we did a headline where the guy
You don't
said,
want to go through other people's things.
well, the
No,
guy said
yeah.
that
Yeah.
wind blew the drugs into his
Yeah.
car. Remember that
Yeah.
one?
Right? And
In
I
her
still
purse.
believe that.
I still
Yeah,
believe
first,
that too.
yeah.
I like this one because a good Samaritan was like, "Hey, man, you're in need.
Yeah.
You need some
brother.
pants. Take these pants from me."
Well, how many Florida man stories do we have where somebody's not wearing pants?
Right.
He didn't
Bingo.
want to get
Yeah.
on the news as a Florida man for not wearing pants.
This
Why
guy's
do
a
you
blessing,
think
dude.
Cameron wears two
Guy's
pairs
a
of
blessing.
pants? Just in case someone's
give one
not
away.
wearing pants.
That's a great dude. That's a great motto. I
Oh,
always wear two
geez.
pairs of pants in case
I need to give one away.
I need to give one away.
Oh, always.
Come on.
That's why he's so padded down there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's like a
that's why.
hockey goalie.
Yeah. All right. So our last Florida man story for today. We're going back to the villages.
Yes.
Again?
Yeah, Josh
love
can
it.
explain the villages real quick.
It's where old people retire.
But
Not
in
like
mass.
heaven, but like in mass.
like millions of them.
yeah. And they just shut the town down. I mean, it's a whole town of old people. They drive golf carts.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
I'm glad you said that.
Hospitals.
Our Florida man in this story was driving a golf cart
Come on.
No surprise.
How do you know?
and crashed that golf cart pretty significantly. And the cops had to come check him out.
Well, they have like roads that go under roads just for golf carts. Like there'll be like a tunnel just for golf carts to go under a main road.
That's
so I don't
insane.
even know how he would crash because
I've seen it all.
You've seen it all.
So the Sumter County Sheriff's deputies were called to one of these villages because there's several.
Right.
Okay, sure.
They went to the South Buena Vista Boulevard.
That's how you say it.
And so they found this golf cart with a broken axle and it was missing the windshield.
Uh-oh.
And so
Yeah.
they found the driver who was
Cruising.
82-year-old. His name was Frederick Devan.
Okay.
The village St. James. So there's like
Oh, wow.
multiple little neighborhoods.
Okay,
Right.
there are.
Right.
And so the deputies like, okay, this guy's drinking. They could tell and they could smell on him that he had been drinking.
Right.
So they,
Well, he's a health inspector.
yeah.
So
And
Dad's
son
a
of the
cop.
police
Yeah.
chief. And so they pulled him over to talk to him. Okay, what's going on?
Right, yeah.
He's like, they're like, is this your golf cart that's in pieces over here?
He's like, no.
Not mine. No, he did claim that it was his, but he said, that crash was not my fault.
yeah.
Okay.
I was walking down the street. Someone gave me the golf cart.
Right.
It had bad steering.
And these pants.
Close. Yeah. He said he was watching TV.
Okay.
And something that President Trump said
Oh, here we
really made him upset. And so
Yeah.
that led
Get
him
in
to
line.
led him to drinking.
Yep.
And
Amen.
led him to going on this joyride in his golf cart where he jumped 2 concrete curbs and then hit the side of a tunnel and crashed his golf cart into this. His blood alcohol level was like double the legal
I
amount.
like
Brother,
to
I couldn't be
imagine-
more sympathetic.
I like to
this guy.
imagine him like hitting this ramp, flying through the air and being like, Biden 2020. Like as
I
he's
mean,
like crashing.
Oh, it's so crazy because the fact that this is not me. This is probably Josh.
Thank you.
I'm not like Josh. I'm not anti blue hair people.
Oh, wow, okay.
Driving.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So,
Yes.
but you have this 82-year-old
Go ahead.
that is just drunk out of his mind,
Yep.
driving these golf carts everywhere on these streets, and
Angry at
just,
the president.
just shaking his
well, I
fist
think
at the president.
I'm comfortable with that because you're not going to do a lot of damage to someone else. You know the risk
I
you're
don't
taking.
know. I mean, a lot of people walk on those
besides a
trails.
pedestrian, but they don't really count.
They shouldn't be
Besides just a
walking
person
anyway.
walking.
You have to be faster. You got to be able to juke if you're a pedestrian.
Okay.
If you can't juke
Yeah.
a golf cart.
See, I
For
told
real.
you he was anti.
Hey, fellas.
Hey, Joshua.
Hello,
It's a beautiful day.
Let me stop you right there.
Oh,
After I said it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, listen. You have a history of surprising us with this segment.
With
Yeah.
high fives, usually.
yeah, it's always something new with you.
This
Thank
is your
you.
segment. We get that. We're hijacking it from you because there are a lot of people that want to go on a first date with you.
Oh,
When
I'm
you-
so tired of getting those emails.
Yeah, when you say a lot, I mean, you literally have never told me about any of
Every
them.
day.
Yeah, here's the thing. So Josh has told the past couple weeks a date story.
Yeah.
Well, I think it scarred me from dating for a while.
It shouldn't, though.
So I don't know
No.
if this is a good segment.
We've got lots of ladies and a few guys who have written in, and they're interested.
Yeah. They're like, Clementine sounded a bit interesting.
yeah, and she
Come
doesn't
date me, though, and I'll show
if
you a
you're
good time.
listening, you still owe me my "Where's the Beef" shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I just think that what we need to do, because you're not going to have enough time in your schedule
Yes.
for all of these people
No,
to go
there's
on first
tons.
date with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you would be going on first dates from here until at least next year
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's
Every
probably
day.
true, and I would probably cancel half of them.
from anxiety.
Last
Yeah,
minute.
and then yep.
Yeah.
So what we did is we took questions from our listeners who were interested in going on dates with you,
Oh.
and we're going to ask you these questions
that they don't know.
in a date setting.
Okay.
We're going to take you on a date with all of our listeners.
Wow.
This is a first date
Intense. This
with
is like
all of
speed
those
dating.
who are interested in
You are now on a date with everyone listening.
I'm speed dating -0 people.
Right. So via proxy, like, I'm going to go on a date with you and give you questions from fans.
Okay.
And Cameron's going to go on a date
Oh,
with
yeah.
you and give questions from fans.
Should I portray myself how I would?
I think
on
you
a
should
date?
sit up a little bit.
Probably a little bit better
This,
than normal.
this would be it.
You're losing my interest.
I'm comfortable with that.
You can call me Cameron with a Y during this segment.
Cameron.
Let's go. Talking cursive to me.
So I won't me making eye contact with you.
I want you to.
That's
Pretend
not how
I'm a
first
beautiful
date would
lady.
go.
Impress us, big boy.
All right, here's my first question. Are you ready?
No.
If you live to be 100,
Okay.
would you rather
Oh,
keep
God.
your current physical physique
Jesus.
or current mental physique?
Jesus. I
Explain yourself.
assume by the time I'm 100,
Okay.
I will have withered away into a much lighter, maybe a 32 waist.
Wow.
And that's what I'm looking forward to with
Yeah.
age. It's being able to buy, comfortable size clothes.
Loafers.
Yeah.
You're so
loafers.
smart.
30, 32s, something like that. So change my body, keep my brain.
I love the way you answered that.
Wow. Okay. This is a little,
You would do really well in the villages.
I really would.
Yeah, you would.
I would clean up.
Question number 2
Oh, gosh.
from a different person. When you imagine the two of us together,
Oh, Jesus.
what does the most relaxing scenario look like?
You probably in your house. Me in my house.
So it's like a phone date.
Yeah, but without us talking. Probably me at my house watching TV with my dogs. And you like texting me, but not expecting an immediate text back. That sounds like honestly the most relaxing date I would ever be on.
We should have prepped him for this.
That's really-
I'm trying to impress these people or be real.
You're on a first date. I think on the first date, you have to put your best foot forward.
Best foot.
I want them to see the real me.
Lie to
because,
us.
Yeah, in a week you're gonna find out.
That's true.
I can't fake it for long.
So if
I faked it for never mind.
All right, question 3. Tell me about your least favorite job.
Okay, wow. Least favorite.
He's sweating.
Yes. I don't know how earphones can slip off your ears. It's probably the time I cleaned an RV on a blacktop, but I cleaned the roof of it
Oof.
and got sun poisoning.
Oh.
And the hose kept falling off of the roof, because I'm like 20 feet up.
Right.
And all of the other RVs are just like hitting me with sun off their windshield. I didn't like that day.
Right.
I never went back.
Okay.
And then they mailed me a check for $53.
Wow.
That's not bad.
Big spender.
I was there 8 hours.
If we were together, I wouldn't have allowed that to happen to you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, my girlfriend at the time, she did rub aloe on me.
That's nice, though.
Yeah.
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 Is that what you're looking for?
You're looking
looking
for
for
someone
off
to
the-
rub
on the
aloe
record.
on you.
I want the person that will rub aloe on me when I get sun poisoning. That's what I'm looking for.
Right. That's
Yeah.
actually, and then you want to be able to not text them back for days on end.
Ideally.
Okay. My last question for our date.
Oh, God.
I think
How's it going?
I think it's been going really good.
Has it? You like what you hear?
I like what I hear and what I see.
Oh.
Speaking of which, obviously your eyes are your best quality.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm getting lost in them right now.
Oh, Jesus.
But what do you think is your like absolute best quality? Like your opinion, what's your best quality?
My best quality. Physical quality?
I think, physical. It could be spiritual, emotional.
No,
all
physical.
three, maybe.
Physical's probably up
Give us
there.
an answer
Top
for all
tier.
three.
Yeah.
The spot behind my knees,
Okay.
man, it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen spots behind
It's
knees.
tender.
But some people got some grody.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine are like smooth. They
Oh.
almost look like a souffle.
Okay,
Wow.
like God spent a little more time on you.
Yeah.
So when I like
That
lay down,
souffle knee.
when I lay on my stomach, you could put like scoops of sorbet
Christ.
in there,
Oh.
and probably I assume
Eat it with a spoon?
some rich philanthropist would eat it out.
Ugh.
So that's probably my best physical.
I just want to point out your date just said ugh.
Okay, so she's not a back of the knees type of girl.
I'm just saying, I love the fact that when these ladies hear this episode and they hear these answers, they're
Yeah.
gonna be like, "Man, that first date went great."
Well, picture me on
Yeah.
a beach,
Right.
and you go,
I am.
I brought the ice cream, but I got nowhere to put the. I didn't bring bowls, and then
Right.
I go, hold on.
Okay.
I roll over.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
takes me a minute.
Come on.
I roll over, and I go check these out, and I point to these 2 scoops down here.
Come
Oh,
on. 2
And-
scoops.
Yeah.
That's what we called them in high school.
Eat
2
those
scoops.
knees for days.
And then me and you eat ice cream out of my reverse knees.
This didn't go like I planned.
It went better.
It
All
went
right.
better.
Let's
Yeah.
see how my day.
So
Probably
my
a
date, my
hundo.
date's over. Now your date with Cameron.
Okay.
If
And
you
I
could-
like a girl that would ask me these questions. So.
No, that's great. But
You're-
if you could, I want you to give Cameron that same intimacy you gave me.
Wow. When
I
I,
want-
give
I want
intimacy,
more
I
intimacy.
give it all. So
Come
it's-
on.
It's probably expended on you.
Yeah.
Question number 1.
Here
Okay.
we go.
What are some things
Oh,
that you
Jesus.
think everyone should do at least once in their life?
Wow.
Jump off a roof into a pool.
Okay.
I think there's just an exhilaration there where I'm being naughty.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm not supposed to be on this roof.
Right.
No.
Neighbors could see and tell my parents.
Yeah.
Gross.
Or
Yeah,
call
yeah, yeah,
police.
Yeah. I think you should absolutely jump off your roof into a pool. Not an above ground pool.
Right.
An underground pool.
Okay.
And probably own a sailboat. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. So you're adventurous.
Well, it teaches you some type. No, I wouldn't own a sailboat. It's a bad investment. I just think people should.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
Somebody besides you?
I have a best friend who's trying to sell sailboats right now, and it's a really tough economy.
Really?
So if this could influence anybody,
So you have some rich friends?
well, he's not doing too great now.
Oh, okay.
JJ Sailboats, check him out.
What is the most beautiful view that you've ever seen?
Oh, that I've ever seen. There was this bag that was caught by wind one time,
Okay.
and I saw that on American Beauty, and that
Right.
probably watching American Beauty.
Mm.
It's probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
So not something in real life?
No, it was probably the first time I saw American Beauty. Easily. It was good. It was really good.
So I heard about you through a friend.
Thank you.
Such a good name.
I heard about you through a friend, and she told me about a
Oh, God.
podcast that you have.
Okay, yeah. I usually try to keep it hidden,
So you're pretty famous.
except on my dating profile, where
What's-
I mention it every
What's-
chance I get.
What's the hardest thing to deal with your fame?
That's a good question.
Probably the expectation that I'm going to be recognized, and then the come to terms when you're not. When people go, "You sound familiar," and I go, "Oh, it's my podcast," and they go, "No, I think you just have a voice that sounds like a lot of people. You sound like my friend
Yeah.
Steve, the town pervert."
That-
And I'm like, I know that guy. He doesn't sound anything like me.
right.
And tell him to stay out of my yard with his binoculars. But yeah, that's probably the expectation of being, such a hard talent with your voice.
Yeah.
People always want you to like, hey, will you do a voicemail for me and say who you are?
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, I didn't know you were that guy. I don't know who that is.
Well, you feel like you feel like
I
you
was
have
mistaken.
to be. You have to be on all the time,
Yeah, I have to be on, ready all the time,
and you're having maybe you're walking to the donut shop or something,
always.
and you just sit and you're not on.
Yeah.
You're having a rough day.
They're like, hey, Florida man.
right.
And I'm
I
like,
know.
yeah,
I know
buddy.
this is Cameron's date, but I
Yeah,
just
thank
sorry I overheard.
I like to double date
Yeah.
two
He does.
dudes at the same time.
Let's go.
Do you like to cuddle?
Oh, wow. Well, that's tough. You have to have the right pillow
Mm-hmm.
because the arm thing, that's the tricky part. You guys know what I'm talking
I just
about.
want you to tell me yes.
Am I big spoon or small spoon?
That's up to you.
I'm both.
Amen. All right, that's a good one.
Here's the thing though. You get a chance to ask Josh anything.
Yes, I like to cuddle.
You get a chance to ask
Nice.
Josh anything, and you write in, "Do you like to cuddle?"
I mean,
Now, here's
Is that
the
a
thing.
deal breaker?
Somebody
well,
just
here's
heard
a
you. No,
part
somebody,
B of the question.
somebody
Oh,
just
God.
heard this answer, and they're lighting up. Right
Oh,
now,
yeah.
dude.
Or they're
Part B
turning off.
was-
What if they are anti-cuddling?
Oh, that's true. Maybe.
So it's, do you like to cuddle? And he said yes.
Well,
And then it's, would you cuddle me?
wow.
Absolutely, I would.
Ding, ding, ding.
I'm at a deficit of cuddling right now. I have a lot of cuddling to make up for.
Right.
So I'd cuddle anybody within my arm's grasp, basically.
Come here.
Let me cuddle you.
You get close enough.
I think a lot of ladies just went, "Aw," until that part, and then they were like,
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
uncomfortable.
that's no good.
Last question.
Like checking out at Publix, and they're like, "Here's your receipt," and I'm like, "Bring it in."
Let's hug.
When I'm with a guy, I want to feel secure.
You better not be with no guys.
I want to feel safe and secure.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Okay.
If we were walking down the street
Yeah.
and I was mugged, somebody stole my purse right in front of you,
Yes.
what would be your first reaction?
Wow.
What would you do in that situation?
Wow.
I'd say, looks like you got a lot of paperwork. Because, I mean, you can file a police report, but that's not going to be really beneficial. But the problem is getting a new license, making all those appointments, contacting your credit
social in
cards,
there?
Wow.
your social. I mean, a purse is, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
But your phone's probably in there. That's
Spent a lot of money
inconvenient.
on that purse.
Yeah.
It's a Gucci purse.
It's probably a good time to break up because I don't know if I want to be a part of that team. That's
Right.
gonna-
Like, you obviously don't respect your own belongings enough to hang on to it.
yeah, you have to like shoulder that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're tuning in and you sent in some of those questions, we hope you're happy. Like we hope
Yeah.
your first date with
Oh,
Josh.
they were, hold on. Let me do the, okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, I would chase that guy. Yeah, and then I'd tackle him.
You'd beat him.
Yeah, I'd pummel him.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, and then I'd use my fist
Yeah.
and throw him against his face until it hurts.
There you go.
And then go home and cuddle.
Yeah, and then I would take your purse, and then I would give it back to you.
Wow, what a guy.
I'm a big man.
If you're interested in your second date, because your first date went great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would just
Send
talk
us
to that dude, and I'd be like, "What's going on with your life?"
Oh,
man?"
he's still answering the question.
I'd probably send you home, so you're safe.
Yeah.
And then I just, connect with that dude because something's going on where he feels like he's got
Wait,
to.
you just made the girl go home, and
Yeah,
then
but
you're
this
going
guy's
home
at a
with the
point in
mugger.
his life where he feels like he needs to rob purses.
He's
You
he's
just
having a
wanna
rough
help him
go.
through
of
And
it.
that could be a weak spot where he needs somebody. And I want to be there. If it's cuddling, if it's just hanging out for a coffee,
Right.
making eye contact,
What a man!
I mean, I'll be there for him 24/7. He can come over for a dinner date. I'll cook for him. Just whatever. That's all.
In 2009, police in multiple small towns across Florida
11 years.
were dealing with something they had never encountered before
Okay,
An 11-year-old.
in multiple cities.
in multiple cities.
Whoa,
So
okay.
basically, they had encountered sophisticated jewelry heist.
What?
Okay, these were happening in small
Okay.
cities all over the state of Florida.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sophisticated, too.
Wow.
Sophisticated.
So,
So,
they probably had like tuxedos on.
Oh yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like, think Ocean's 11.
Oh, I'm thinking
All of them are handsome.
I always
13
think-
specifically.
Right.
What?
So for 6 years, random jewelry stores across the state would close up shop, set their alarms, lock the doors, only to return the next day to see that their most expensive merchandise was gone.
Okay.
Jeez. That's probably a big hit too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
even
I
the cheap
think-
stuff is
yeah.
expensive.
Right.
You usually go for the cheap stuff when you're
On a date.
On a date.
Right. So keep in mind, these are small towns that aren't used to dealing with any sorts of major crime,
Yes.
much less like a jewelry heist, right?
Yeah.
So the police reports made it seem like the burglars were like ghosts.
Whoa.
They couldn't quite comprehend what was happening.
Nice.
So these heist jobs were so intelligent that no one knew how to handle it. So, for example, at one crime scene, the only clue left behind was a single footprint.
Whoa.
So, like,
Santa.
which of course,
Somebody messed up.
yeah, you can't identify that. That's like, that's like some Scooby Doo stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Unless there's a one-legged jewel thief.
I guess it could be.
Then you
We've
know.
only got one footprint, sir. But at another scene, investigators had zero evidence inside the store, like nothing, no fingerprints, no camera footage, like
No
zilch.
footprints.
Nothing.
Nothing, right?
Okay.
So they spent hours watching traffic camera footage, hoping they could identify like any suspicious movement or behavior
Yeah.
from out on the highway.
Comings and goings.
They had nothing. So like, well, let's just check out the CC cameras
Something.
and see, if we can find something, right? But of course, they found nothing. What was fascinating is that according to police, they thought each store was a standalone robbery.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so most
You
of
don't
these
start linking jewelry stores robberies together.
No.
not naturally. It's like, and most of these towns were so small and so ill-equipped that
Yeah.
they had no idea that other jewelry stores were being robbed because small town law enforcement agencies don't usually communicate with each other.
Yeah, and it's not like you're getting each other's newspaper or something
Well, that's exactly it.
in
So
2009. You know.
well, and
Oh,
not
yeah,
for,
yeah,
and not for something like
Internet.
this. Like if it's like a murder spree, maybe. But when it's like a jewelry store gets robbed,
Yeah,
they're not
happens
thinking
all over.
Yeah, maybe it's happening somewhere
And they're
else
going to
too,
collect
right?
insurance and
There he goes.
Right. Yeah. So like if you're in small town A and your jewelry store gets robbed, the last thing you're going to assume is 30 miles over it's
Yeah.
happening the same week.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So as far as anyone knew, these places were being robbed by highly trained professionals, and there wasn't anything small town cops could do about it. Okay.
Gotcha.
They're at a loss for it.
Wow.
Jesus.
That is until a man named Mike Crowley arrived.
Oh, jeez.
And we believe in Mike Crowley.
Oh, hundo.
Listen, we love Mike Crowley. Mike Crowley, 71 years old, retired police detective and a Vietnam veteran. He's an all-around bad A.
Wow.
Which village does he live in?
Hello.
They're one of the villages. Actually, I think he does live near Ocala.
No.
I believe that.
So this guy had done it all before. Mike had spent decades as a police detective, and since retiring, he had found it kind of difficult to just sit around and play golf. Okay, like
Yeah.
like
If you go from
retirement.
solving crimes to figuring out where you're
At
going
least
to
go from solving crimes to like puzzles or something.
Yeah, at least start
Right.
watching like Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't meant for retired life. In fact, he was actually forced into retirement because of his age.
Ageism.
Wow.
Yep.
Not fair, but we
Been
don't
there
like
at
that.
all.
And
Been there.
Mike would always say, and I love this quote: "Once a detective, always a detective."
Amen.
I think
Yeah.
I've said the same thing.
I say the same thing all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Okay, that was his whole life. It's a great saying. So in 2015, 6 years after the first heist happened,
Yep.
Mike was browsing the internet at his home looking for unsolved crimes.
Okay, wow.
Really?
Once a detective.
Always
Just
a
like on
detective.
Craigslist, just all right,
Yeah.
what can I do today?
This is what he did for a hobby. So he started noticing all of these small town newspapers reporting about jewelry heist.
Okay.
Mhm.
And he started seeing familiar patterns.
I see his whiteboard. I see tax.
Right. No, kind of. Yeah.
Strings.
Yeah. So dozens of these heists have taken place, and Mike's at home, probably in his PJs, and he starts
Whoa, whoa,
realizing
whoa.
that these patterns exist, and he's connecting the dots.
If I know anything about Mike, he's never in PJs. He's always in that police
Suited up.
Oh, all the time.
Ready
Ready,
to
to
Ready
go.
to be a detective. So Mike would drive hundreds of miles all around the state to investigate each crime scene himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
dedicated.
And they're like,
Well,
it's
We're not paying for your gas anymore.
that's the thing. He clarified that he didn't get paid for this, but he collected evidence. But anytime he would email the local authorities,
Yeah.
like in the town where the heist happened, they either wouldn't respond or they would ask him to quit tampering with a crime scene.
Oh, wow.
We don't need
Is it
no.
still a crime scene if it's like after the fact?
Well, no, not really. And they're just super unappreciative.
Yeah.
You know what
I
I
think
mean?
I
Like,
want someone coming in saying, "Hey, listen, y'all are too dumb.
Yeah.
I can figure this out."
well,
Yeah.
right. It's a pride thing. And keep in mind, they still thought all of these were standalone crimes.
Yeah.
So, like in their town, they're dealing with like a jewelry heist, and some
Mhm.
random retared detective comes and says, "There's a bigger case here," and they're like, "We can't."
They're like, we don't care about that.
we have
other
no
town.
clues, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
you have no idea what's going on.
We have a
So-
one-legged man. That's
Yeah.
all
Right.
we know.
And he's fast.
He's
real
really fast. So Mike Crowley decides that he would just solve the crimes himself without the help of local police departments.
Okay.
Okay. Wow.
One
Well,
man
that's-
band.
Yeah.
So one of the first things Mike realized was that these heists were all being done by the same team. It wasn't
Oh,
random.
hello.
It wasn't by chance. There was a pattern to each and every hit.
One
That's
footprint.
from- yep,
Every
Right.
one- every time.
time.
What-
Santa Claus.
He made a list of commonalities between the crime scenes. And first off, the jewelry stores were always in strip malls and usually on the edges of small towns.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So whoever this team was, they knew that like small town cops didn't have the resources to investigate and track them down across
Yeah.
city lines,
Hey.
across jurisdictions.
Oh,
Tricky,
so
tricky.
even okay.
Right. Secondly, their crew always struck in the middle of the night and they would bypass the alarms with electronic jamming devices.
Whoa.
Something that small town cops probably wouldn't know about.
That's,
No,
yeah.
you just go to
Well, you
local
don't give them
Radio
a lot
Shack.
of- yeah.
You can go to Radio Shack and get those. I think.
Well, Mike Crowley,
Radio Shack.
he was able to deduce that because each store had an alarm system in place that would just stop working while the robbery was happening.
Yeah, and then they put jam in it.
Well, no. Well, here's the thing: they didn't like cut the wires. They didn't bust the system.
Yeah,
it would just stop working mysteriously while they were in the building. The moment they left, it starts working again.
Wizards.
So there's no signs of
Wizard
like any
jam.
tampering or anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he knew right away they've got some kind of electronic device that's
Yeah.
jamming the signal.
They're smarter than these dumb cops.
For the most part, yeah. Third, every target also had a shared wall with a business next door. And that business next door would have no alarm system and no valuables.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So basically,
Like
the
a
thieves,
fabric store next door.
yeah, and
Wow,
they could take
fabric is valuable
Well,
not like jewelry though.
I mean,
to some people.
It's fabric to naked.
corduroy. I
It's,
get
it's
it.
valuable to naked people.
He loves
That's true.
He loves corduroy.
We can agree on that,
Pantsless people. Yeah.
right?
Amen.
So the thieves would basically pick the lock of the neighboring store,
Mhm.
Okay.
and then they would cut a hole in the wall and walk right into the jewelry
That's
store.
amazing.
Well, it's a fabric door, so you're like, I just.
It was scissors, right?
Yeah, I just cut
Well, it
scissors.
basically prevented them from having to bust out windows or make a scene at the entrance.
Yeah.
They could
Gotcha.
quickly, pick an easy lock and take their time because think about it. If it's jewelry stores have like, reinforced,
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
doors, nice locks.
Fabric store owner,
not
they don't
so
even
much.
want to be there, so they're not coming in. And like,
Take
Yeah, if it's like a laundromat next door, they're not, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They got
yeah.
a little bit deadbolt. You can pick it.
get them.
And so the last thing is every location had this in common. They all had a supposedly impenetrable safe
Mm.
where the really expensive jewels are being held.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. But at each crime scene, the safe had been cracked by a
What?
small drill that was used to make a very tiny, precise hole,
Okay.
allowing the thieves to bypass the lock and steal the contents inside.
So they know safes too, because it can't all be the same one.
Ding, 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 ding,
I
ding,
feel
ding.
like
Oh,
the
ding, ding,
safe
ding.
company needs to know about this defect.
Yeah, they may. So if you're taking notes,
am.
the last one's really important.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
impenetrable, except if someone has a drill
Exactly.
and a
Yeah.
very
And knows
small
exactly
drill
where to
bit.
do it.
If you have power tools,
Yeah. Well, yeah, of
you're gonna
course.
get
If you have
us.
power tools, you can get in anything.
Right. So Mike says these crime scenes were virtually identical. Like
Okay.
over and over again, he encountered the same
Yeah.
same scenario. So to summarize it, the thieves would break into the neighboring store,
Yep.
cut their way through the wall, scramble the alarm,
Wow.
drill into the safe in a precise manner,
Mm.
sneak
Seems
back
like
out.
you know a lot about
Nobody
this.
would know.
Hmm.
The
Wow.
guy's still in the loose, guy. What
He
can
doesn't know how to
what
use
can I
power
say?
tool, though.
I know. This thing's not charged. Basically, it was the perfect job. So Mike
Okay.
Foley,
I'm impressed.
who is a decade into retirement, he's the only one who's really putting all these pieces together, and
Yeah.
no one's listening to him. Okay. So he's not even active duty anymore, and he's basically making more progress in a few months than the police forces did in years.
Yeah, because
over these
another
cases.
crime comes in the next day. So you're like, sorry, jewelry
Yeah.
company.
Sorry about your jewelry. Yeah, right. But after months of investigating these heists, Mike does realize he needs some help. And so he
Uh-oh.
reaches out to an old friend of his who helped him solve some major bank robberies back in the 90s.
One-legged
Oh,
Jim.
really?
One-legged Joe. So this guy help Mike solve some bank robberies back in the 90s.
Cool.
It's an old friend named Robert Talski. Okay.
Oh man.
And Robert is the president of the International Safe and Vault
Wait
Organization,
a second.
which just happens to be based out of Ocala, Florida,
What?
next to the villages.
They're very exclusive. You try to join, they're like, it's going to be $4.99 deposit
Right.
to get the newsletter.
Wait, so he was friends with a guy that ran a safe company.
This guy helped him solve some bank robberies back in the 90s.
when you're a
Okay,
detective,
He had gone to him before for advice
Yeah.
on this kind of stuff.
on safes.
On safe
specifically.
specifically, because
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
banks.
He's an expert.
Right. So Robert Towski, he's the safe and vault expert who leads and teaches other safe and vault experts.
Gotcha.
Okay.
suspect number
He's
one.
brilliant at cracking safes and finding people who crack safes.
Okay.
So, like I said, Robert had helped Mike a few decades prior when Mike was a working detective,
Mhm.
and he came across a team of
Bona
bank
fide.
robbers.
Yeah.
Meet,
Right.
meet some for lunch, okay? Guess who's wearing jewelry?
Exactly. So Mike and Robert go way back.
Yeah.
Mike takes the evidence he's gathered at the crime scene, specifically the photos of the super small holes that have been drilled into the safes. He takes them all to his old friend Robert.
Okay.
And Robert, because of his expertise, he looks at the evidence and tells Mike, look, besides myself,
Yep.
there's maybe 12 people in the U.S. that could crack a safe with this sort of precision.
Yep.
And as far as I know, all 12 of them are in prison.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
So this is a very tight-knit community. The proprietary value around safes is like very like closely guarded.
Mhm.
So what he's saying is basically this is an inside job.
Oh.
And if they know how safes work, they've already been caught because
Got
they
'em.
were
They're
breaking
already in
into safes.
prison, right? So,
Yeah.
so this is an inside job, not at the jewelry store, but in the safe industry,
Ooh.
right?
That's weird.
It's not a safe
so-
industry.
Man, it's not a safe industry at all.
But basically, what we have is like an Olympic team of burglars.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
Because
wow.
you've got someone who's probably top 10 at cracking safes.
Okay. You
Okay.
got the
Bingo.
Usain Bolt.
You've got
safes.
someone who can scramble alarm systems and prevent any
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of like
Okay.
Radio Shack
Frederick
employee.
Lamar.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And more than likely, you got someone who knows police investigations and how they work because they know exactly which stores to hit, which ones to target, and how long it would take for the police to respond and
Okay.
investigate. And
And the
stuff
idea
like
of not
that.
leaving evidence. They're
Right, exactly.
like, hey, cop guy, what do we do? Leave evidence or no? And he's like, no.
Don't leave any evidence.
Thanks,
At-
cop guy.
At the very most, one footprint.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Give
I'll
us
do
a-
the footprint.
Give them a tease.
Yeah, so they're experts. And honestly, if Mike Crowley and Robert Towski weren't in their 70s, we could think it was them, possibly.
Amen.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like, but remember how I
Ageism
said,
right here.
I know, sorry. Remember how I said Mike had used Robert to help solve a case before?
I
do remember that.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
So that was
Oh,
2
geez.
decades ago when Mike was, again, a working detective, and there was a string of bank robberies all across Florida in the 1990s.
Yep.
It took the authorities, including the FBI, years to bring this team of bank robbers down, and the lead investigator was Mike Crowley.
Whoa.
And the way they had finally solved those cases was by Mike meeting with Robert
Okay.
and Robert identifying the culprit solely based on the drill marks in the safes at
That's
the banks.
crazy.
Okay. Suspect 1 and 2 for me right here.
I know. So here are these two friends, they've reunited decades later, and Robert basically, he's brought this evidence. Mike's like, hey, help me do it again, man.
Yeah.
No
Let
one's
me see
listening
those
to
drill
me.
marks.
Yeah, let's
Is
solve
a
it again.
drill
And-
like a gun where you're like, oh, that hole came from that drill.
Actually, it is.
Oh,
He's able to tell. It was more about the location and the precision of it. They just knew exactly where in the safe.
Okay.
They weren't busting the safe open. It was like
yeah,
a
it was
very
like-
tiny
yeah, I
spot.
get it.
Spot that
I
they had to
get it.
disable.
I think if you got a safe and you just try it a bunch of times, you're gonna get it right.
If
You
you
might.
put holes in every little spot.
That's what I'm thinking.
Eventually,
Yeah,
you have
bingo.
one big hole,
Yeah.
and you just reaching to grab
That's
it.
how they got in.
That would've
Why
been the
would he
best
use
way to
so
do
many
it.
small
Well,
holes.
Robert says something that kind of takes Mike by surprise.
Hold on.
He
Cameron,
says,
what's he say?
My wife's leaving me.
Oh, Jesus.
"I can't help you on this case."
I need a roommate.
Well, he actually says,
Don't joke about that.
judging by the unique patterns in the drill marks on the safe, Robert Towski confirmed that the drilling style, the pattern and precision, was the exact same as the man that Mike Crowley had locked away for bank robberies 20 years prior in the 1990s.
Gosh.
He's
This
like,
guy-
so
I'm tired of being a suspect. Everybody drills perpendicular
Anyway,
to the object.
Basically, the difficult part was the original team of bank robbers back in the 90s that Mike had caught, they had all been caught and processed.
So they're still in prison.
They had been tried and put in
Well.
prison. So what are the odds
It's the son.
of 2 decades later,
Nice.
they come back to Florida, the original location of their crime spree, and they do it all over again, except this time instead of banks,
Word.
it's jewelry.
Mm.
We'll have to find out next week.
No.
What the? Right there?
Yeah, so it's going to be a cliffhanger.
where
Episode
the good
90,
part
episode
comes.
91, we're going to go back to the 90s,
Don't like that.
discuss the original string of bank robberies,
Don't like that at all.
and then we're going to catch up to present day and find out how
What?
this all ends.
Worst ending ever.
Yeah, what the heck?
Super tease, man.
Super tease.
I
don't
told
even
the
know if I'll
boys
listen next week.
I told the boys
like
when I
this.
came to the studio, I said, be prepared to get teased tonight. And they said
Yeah.
to me, what are you talking about? You always tease us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
thought it was him eating apples with the tease.
No, I meant this
Yeah.
time with the story, baby.
Oh, oof.
Big tease. It's been a great week.
Yeah, it's been an awesome week.
If you like it and you're
Amazing week.
titillated, tune back in.
Yes.
Episode 91
If we have
next week.
teased you enough,
Mm.
Right.
And if
you
not,
won't. Come back to be satisfied.
check us out on Patreon.
hey,
We'll
Come
tease
on.
ya all
physically,
night
we'll
long.
physically tease you.
Patreon.com/FMOFM podcast, FMOFM
Every
podcast.
Patreon member gets 5 minutes of cuddle time.
Yeah, they do. From Joshua. If you are a live streamer on Patreon, that means you are watching us tape this episode now
Hello.
or later on in the week. You can watch it retrospectively.
Sure.
Is that the right
Sure.
word?
Yeah.
Nope, not
you
even
keep
close.
using it, but I don't know if it's right.
I don't know,
Never.
but we
Never
love
did.
you guys. That's the way that you get all the bonus material, bonus episodes.
Yes.
You get behind the scenes stuff, show notes, story art, live stream.
Mm.
How do you make the sausage?
Apple
You want to find out?
contests.
Patreon.
That's it. We did an apple eating contest earlier. It was really disgusting.
It's delicious.
But yeah, we love you guys. All of our social media platforms are from Often Podcast.
Yes.
And we love you. Thanks for supporting the show. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
listening. We'll see you next time.
See you.